Hello and welcome to Elizabeth's Craft Room for a bit of sparkle. Do you like the look of that? Isn't it beautiful? Love it. So I'm going to show you how to do this beautiful, shiny, glimmery, happy card. Might do a slightly different layout. I've got an idea for that, but we'll see how it goes. So let's get started with that. I'm going to show you what inspired me, and this is the second video I think I've done where I've been inspired by the catalogue. And can you see there's actually on this notepad, this is on page 108, they've used the off the grid and embossed it, and I thought it looked beautiful on the white, and then I thought, wow, how good would that look on black? So that's what we're doing today. So I'm taking a piece of basic black cardstock, and this is 3 3/4 inches square, and I'm going to take my off the grid. So this I believe only comes in wood, so I've got it in one of the new wood mount cases. They are really great. They're so good for storing everything. And I'm going to use my embossing buddy over my black here, and I'm going to ink this well up with Versamark. I just ordered a new ink Versamark pad today. It's going to look cleaner than that, but just for a little while. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp straight down. And because this is a fairly big stamp, I'm going to push quite hard all over and then lift that up. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder from Stampin Up, and I'm going to just tip the embossing powder all over. Give that a tap to remove the excess. Let's make sure I've got it sticking everywhere I want to. That looks good. And then while I'm still here with my embossing powder, and before we heat, I'm also going to do a couple of butterflies. So once again, in with the embossing buddy. And let's tip that over. Got a dimensional back in the embossing powder. I've got a dimensional back on the back of my paper. My husband says they're the bane of his life. I just think it's spreading a little crafting magic around, little crafting confetti. Okay, so I'm going to use my heat gun. I do have the old style Stampin' Up heat gun, so mine's a little bit noisier than the new one. So fingers in ears. And do you remember the first time you ever saw heat embossing, or maybe this is your first time seeing it? It's like alchemy. It still makes me smile when, as you put the heat over, you see the embossing powder melt and that beautiful shine come through. It is like creating gold, and actually gold in this case. And I'm going to do my butterflies. And this is from Papillion Potpourri. And I think all the butterflies would look nice in the gold, but this one particularly works very well, I think. Pretty. So I'm going to put those aside for a minute just to let them cool down before I start punching. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of Whisper White. I'm going to stamp the greeting hello. Right, this is from the six-sided sampler. It's got 3 greetings. And what I actually do with my clear mount is sometimes I separate the little greeting pieces out. So I actually cut off where it says hello sweet friend, because I just like the hello on its own sometimes. I can always mount the sweet friend piece up and use them together. But today we're just going to use the hello. It's a little bit more generic to send it to anybody. And isn't that font beautiful? Just so sweet. I've just stamped that in basic black, or you could use StazOn. And I'm going to punch that out with the word window. Now I thought to mount that up I would use some of the gold glimmer paper as we're going so gold. But I've got a little tip for you. It's quite hard to persuade the cardstock to stick on to the glimmer paper. So I'm punching a word window shape out, and then I'm going to punch with the modern label and get that kind of pretty much in the middle of my modern label. That looks good. A little bit more. There we go. And then when I glue that on, and I stick that on with my dimensionals, I'm not actually trying to stick it onto the glimmer. I can stick it straight onto the card. So let's put those aside. Bring my butterflies back in, and I'm going to reach for my butterfly punch and just punch those out. And they just look so dramatic. I love them. There's one I did earlier. I didn't know how many I was going to use, so I've got one from when I was preparing, and I'm going to just stick that down, and we're going to I'm going to do a slightly different layout, as I said this time, that way round I think. So I'm going to use Tombow to stick down this layer. And then next I'm going to put my greeting on. So just a little bit of Tombow on the back of here, and I'm just going to have little tiny bits, little dots on there, and I'm going to put my greeting this time across the bottom. Get a tissue where I have used a little bit too much. There we go. And then I'm going to take some dimensionals, and I'm going to use a little edge bit of the dimensionals. That's going to pop in there, right off the screen, sorry. And I'm going to put my greeting in down at the bottom. And now it's just time to add my butterflies, and I'm just going to fold them, and actually that embossing makes the cardstock even stronger, so they hold that that shape. I mean, obviously they'll squish down in an envelope, but if you're handing this over, it's lovely because they're really going to hold that shape. I'm going to have now the butterfly flying over here on this side of the card. Beautiful! I just love this very dramatic effect of the gold. I think it would look beautiful with silver, any kind of metallic. And can you see the way that gleams when I tip it? Now with this one, I've just finished off with 3 little candy dots. These are in the new catalogue in all the main colour families. So I just used 3 little candy dots on there. I'm not sure I need it now on this one. I think it might be a bit sort of overkill to put those on, even though I'm usually a more is more girl. But you tell me what you think. I hope you've enjoyed today's video from Elizabeth's Craft Room. I shall be back on Friday with another project, and back on Tuesday with another video. Look forward to seeing you then.